everyone, welcome back to the channel. Nikki2Jobs here. I have another video of what seems to be my most liked content, which is polling questions asked by candidates and recruiters from Reddit and giving my perspective on them. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. First question here from a candidate. To summarize it, they essentially are saying they interviewed for a job. It's a niche role. They think they did a good job in the interview, but they're still waiting to hear back from the recruiting team on whether or not they're going to get an offer. What they have seen is that their application was moved to a new requisition. So for someone who's not a recruiter or in the industry, you may not even know what a requisition is. A requisition is an industry term for the specific role, which includes all the parameters of specific experience that they're looking for, yada, yada, yada. So all it means to find out that you were moved to a different requisition, the company internally opened up a new requisition or job opening for a similar position. There isn't really anything to worry about here. Requisitions get opened and closed all the time. As long as you're being added to the new requisition, that's all that matters. If you find out that you're not being added to a requisition, then you're likely not a match for whatever the role may be changing to. This next question is asking about shortlisting candidate pools within the interview process. There's different stages in the interview process, obviously. This person is saying that they have a contact within the company who the recruiting team told them that this person is shortlisted in the interview process. What a shortlist at this stage means, I'm not sure. They go on to say that there were a lot of folks who had applied who might not be a very good fit for the role, which is actually most jobs. The majority of applicants who apply to jobs aren't necessarily a good match for the position. But they're wondering what a shortlist actually means. I would say that they're shortlisted in the sense that the company is going to reach out to them once they've started reaching out to candidates. Usually that happens pretty quickly after a job opens. So I would assume that if they are on the short list, they're going to get a message soon. As the process continues, there are different levels of shortlisting candidates. So if, say, you've interviewed 5 to 10 candidates for small to medium-sized companies, you'll get a short list of about 3 candidates where there will be the top candidate that you'd like to make an offer to, a backup candidate that meets most of the criteria, but for whatever reason isn't the top candidate. There may be a 3rd or 4th candidate that would be kind of fallback options in case candidate number 1 rejects an offer, candidate number 2 rejects an offer. Sometimes the interview process restarts altogether. This candidate is asking whether or not they feel short stints of work during COVID is going to hurt their resume during an interview process. And additionally, whether they should reapply with a different email and an updated resume. So unfortunately, companies do sometimes not approve of shorter stints of work because they're going to be looking for employees that are interested in staying long term. However, that always can be explained by not only having reasons why those stints were shorter, but why you're a long-term match and why it's what you're looking for going forward. To address the second part of their question, should they apply under a different email with an updated resume? I would say do not do this. Any company with a competent recruiting team is going to know that you've applied twice, and it's not going to be something that is just going to fly under the radar. Additionally, if you do end up getting the job, there will likely be a background check, which will go over your previous employment. So if you do end up doing that and you get an offer, you're going to end up having to explain why those things were omitted from your resume to begin with. So this is actually an interesting question. It's similar to the last one, but from a recruiter's perspective about a candidate. The candidate had worked at a major company for a very long time, got an offer, and then someone, I don't know who, but someone told this recruiter that this candidate had actually for the last 6 months been working at a different company and didn't list it on their resume. So they reached out over text, which they admit was a mistake, and it is, about this discrepancy on their resume that they heard about. Now they haven't heard back from the candidate. They're wondering if they should reach out to the client and talk to them about it. So there's a lot involved in this question. And what I would say, first of all, is you never want to base anything off of hearsay. If you're going to text someone about something that you heard from whoever about their experience, you should definitely try to get them on the phone. But you also shouldn't come at it in a confrontational way. You should just confirm with them that the experience listed on their resume is their actual experience, and remind them that any offer is going to be accompanied by a background check. At this point, you'll likely get the answer you're looking for, whether the rumor that you heard was true or false. You're not going to be sitting in the dark without an answer from your candidate. A candidate is going to feel like you're working against them at this point, and you won't be wondering, should I be bringing this to my client's attention? Which you should not be bringing it to your client's attention, because you're still just working on hearsay. You haven't confirmed anything. And if it turns out that the rumor you heard was wrong, you're going to be in an even bigger mess than you already are. This question is from a recruiter who's currently working at an agency, and they're wondering if they are being compensated fairly for the industry. So to just briefly go over their current compensation, they're making around $55,000 for a base salary and about 10% off their commissions. First, $55K for a base salary at an agency is pretty standard, especially for someone newer. Agency recruiting is not about the base salary, it's about the commission structure. And only making 10% off of a direct hire for commission is pretty low. The only agencies that I've ever been associated with have had at least a 30% commission structure, which only gets higher the higher you perform. I feel like this person is actually getting robbed a little bit. My advice to this person would be to look for other opportunities. To sum up this next question, it's from a recruiter who currently works an in-house position, and they used to work at an agency. They took the job thinking it was going to be less stressful, and now, since they've been there around 6 months, they've changed the positions that they're working on, their responsibilities within the company, and they want to help. So what I'll say is my experience working as an internal recruiter, this sounds very similar. When you're an internal recruiter, you work at behest of your company, especially if you're on a salary. You have to recruit for whichever roles they need you to recruit for. And it's probably not going to be the same roles a year in as the ones you interviewed to hire for from the beginning. This type of question reminds me of when I was working at an agency, and the stereotype was that working at an internal job is less stressful, but you can tell that this person is very stressed out and they want to get back to the simplicity of working at an agency where you're more so in business for yourself and just working on your desk alone. But they've gotten used to having a nice steady paycheck, which is the less stressful part about the job. I would say that this is a fair representation of the difference between working as an external third-party recruiter and working as an internal recruiter. So this has been another episode of answering questions I found on Reddit. There were 3 from candidates, 3 from recruiters. I hope the answers were helpful. I do have a subreddit of my own. It'll be linked in the information below. If you do like this type of content, please support the channel by giving it a like and a subscription. Both these things are free for you to do, but mean the world to me. I'm still trying to get 500 subscribers. There's going to be a button that pops up soon and a ton of videos for you to go look at after you're done with this one. We'll see you for the next one. Take care.